Well, you do take a look outside and you also just notice it is raining across some portions of the area in Savannah, particularly at the airport, Savannah Hilton International Airport rather. It is 75 degrees. We do have rain in the area. Thunderstorms even have been around for portions of the coastal empire and low country as well. Here's a look at Viper radar and it's showing you activity is moving in. Now, most of this is just shower activity. We do have some strikes of lightning and a collapse of thunder with especially one cell here heading right towards the islands. But bottom line, heavy rain and some of this activity means we are under a flood watch. Of course, more about that in a second. But rainfall's moving in inland right now from Statesboro towards Rankin and even along I-95 into Jasper County, just over the state line in South Carolina. We are finding some light to moderate rain with even pockets of heavier squalls involved too. But the heaviest activity currently is located between Savannah and the islands now, and that's going to continue to increase in intensity as this activity pushes in. South Savannah, you're about to get in on some of this as well, with even the possibility for flood alerts going into effect momentarily. Some light pockets of rain rather inland for a lot of our counties along and south of the Altamaha. Headed into Tattnall County as well. Some of this continues. Long County, you're getting in on this as well. We have an area of disturbed weather in the region. Nothing tropical, of course, with that, but there is a lot of downpours. There are a lot of downpours moving in off the Atlantic. I beg your pardon, and that's going to continue. But some inland spots have picked up 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. That was from earlier. Now, not all of it came down at once, which is what limited flooding. On the other hand, though, coastal spots have seen a lot of rain, particularly in the morning hours, with some spots 4 to 5 inches picked up and widespread areas of 1 to 2 inches. And the only insult to injury is going to continue. That's why there's a flood watch in effect until 6 a.m. Monday. That may be extended for our coastal counties. And bottom line, everywhere in the coastal empire and low country is in this if you're generally along and east of I-95. So for your morning commute tomorrow, do be careful with the potential for flooding rainfall, as we will generally have a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms through portions of the day. Of course, not a total washout, but you'll see, generally speaking, more rain and clouds than sunshine. Gradually, coverage does back off once you get towards about 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow, but it's going to be a bit of a soaker through the day, and there's even the low chance for flash flooding. Bottom line is, a lot of the coastal areas, you're going to have this issue, but activity gradually builds inland once you get through the day. Again, area disturbed weather in the region's just keeping it unsettled, and a lot of moisture to work with in the mid and upper levels has kept things on the bit soggy side for the area, and that's continued. And the Vipercast will also show that. Not initialized like well at all, I'll say that right now, but more activity will build in during the day, and you can expect it generally to pulse farther inland. But either way, heavy rainmakers with this, so turn around, don't drown if you encounter flooded roadways in the area. Now back to Tuesday, the area of disturbed weather moves out, but we get more sunshine and in turn more pop-up showers and storms, still scattered storms possible. But as high pressure builds in through the week, you do get to have a bit of a change and back to more seasonal conditions in the area. 96L continues to drift northward. It is no factor for the U.S., but the feature moving through the Cabo Verde Islands now is Invest 97L, and that has a 90% chance of reaching named storm status over the next week and about a 50-50 shot over the next day or two. But notice, thunderstorm activity is confined to one portion of the area. Low-level center is still hard to come by, but either way, this will push westward, and computer models are starting to come into better agreement. Of course, until we get a named storm, it will be just a little bit until we have more confidence in that. But generally speaking, most guidance has a strong system north of the Caribbean. There are 2 options generally. Some guidance pushes it west, other guidance wants it to go north. Gotta wait and see, though. That is a long way off, and the bottom line is still need to keep tuned to Storm Team 3 for that. Passing showers continue tonight, and muggy one to start the day, but bottom line, temperatures are still going to be below average for the day on Monday. Flooding rain is the main concern, especially along I-95 and points east. But again, just be careful with your commute tomorrow morning, or really any travel if there's rainfall involved. Our local waters will feature winds 10 to 15 knots, 2 to 3 foot seas will build in, and also be keeping an eye on the sky for those storms and the potential for some water spouts with some activity too. But Kaylee and Colby, we do have good news, at least in terms of people who love sunshine. That's going to become more of a factor towards the middle of the week, but we got to get through the speed bump of this continued pattern we've really had.
A super soaker, if you will.
Oh yeah.
I'm not an expert, but
oh, it's perfect.
That's how I understand it. As someone who just sees rain across the 7-day.
You're seeing rain across the 7-day. I'm seeing football all week in preseason form. Last week we had week 1 of the preseason. We've got Jaguars, Falcons, and Panthers. Oh my, next to the sports.